Hi, Katrina here from Scrappy Horses. Today I'd like to share with you some functions within Design Space that you may or may not know how to use. One is the weld button or function, and the other is the hide contour. I'm going to use this card that I designed for the Cut It Up Challenge in July of 2016 to demonstrate these functions. Now, if you're watching this as a current video, July 2016, you might want to go over to the Cut It Up Challenge and check that out. And you might be inspired to design a card for that for a chance to win some prizes. So on with Design Space. I started out by inserting images. You'll see here that I have this banner and this speech bubble, which both have hearts in it, and they are from the Close to My Heart art booking cartridge. I also inserted the image 4th of July from Summer Celebrations. To start this project, I came in and I deleted the pieces that I did not need. So I select 4th of July, I ungroup. So I know I don't need the black piece behind it, so I'm going to remove that and just delete it from my screen. Next, I know that I want this white piece, but I don't want it this large. So I'm going to unlock the dimensions and change it to fit the size of my flag almost exactly. So what I'm going to do is bring it over, line it up on the left-hand edge. If you've watched my videos, you know that whenever I run my recording device, it tends to slow down my arrow action. So please know that when you do this, you probably won't have the drag time that I have. Okay, so I have changed the size of that white piece to almost exactly fit the size of the flag. And it doesn't have to be exact, and you'll see why later on in the card process. Now here's where we're going to use the hide contour. You'll note that this heart is a wider design heart than this one is. This one is more narrow. I just like the shape of this one. So now I'm going to hide contour on my speech bubble. I come in, I select the image, I right click, I find hide contour, click, left click. This shows up darker when I click this. Do you see that the outside of the speech bubble turns dark? I click. I take away my arrow, click it elsewhere on the screen, and all I'm left with is that heart, which is what I wanted. Now I come over to the banner and I do the exact same thing. I select my image with a left click. I right click my mouse, hide contour. This time I just want to take away the heart, so I move my arrow in to where the heart gets darker. Left click my mouse, take my arrow away, click elsewhere, and it's gone. Now, if you remember my card, it was a horizontal and not vertical. Let me just bring that back up for you again so you can see that. So we need to rotate this banner, okay? So I can either rotate it with this tool, or I can select it, come to Edit. I know I want to rotate it 90 degrees, so I'm just going to my keyboard and I'm just typing in 90. Go back and click, and it goes ahead, it will turn it for me. Now I want to go ahead and mirror that. Whoops. There we go. All right, now I need to work on size. I know that I want my card to be a traditional card size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So again, I can take this and I can size it to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 by selecting, coming over here, unlocking. I want my width to be 4 1/4. Again, I'm just typing in these numbers in my keypad here. Now I'm going to go ahead and select this since I've resized it to the appropriate size. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it. And now I have 2 of these. I'm going to set one aside for now. And I'm going to come back to my first one. And I'm going to slice my heart. First thing I need to do is size up my heart to the size I want. So next, I am going to select both my heart and my banner cut. Now, I have, as carefully as I can, put my heart in the middle, going from left to right. But going from top to bottom, I certainly can get a very good center by selecting both pieces. Again, using my left click, coming up to a line, and centering vertically. And you saw the heart drop down just slightly. Now, while they're both selected, I can come over and choose my slice over in the panels. Slice. And you will see now it is sliced out. I'm going to go ahead and delete these pieces that I don't need. I had a couple of extra hearts over here, so we'll delete those. And now we have our front panel. So that front panel, if you remember the card, is sort of a, well, it's not sort of, it is craft. It's cut from craft paper. So I'm going to go ahead, just for the sake of keeping everything easy to remember, I'm going to go ahead and color that craft here. Now, what I did for my card base is I took this piece and I welded it to another piece. So let me just move these out of the way. So we're going to talk about the weld feature now. So what I did is I just came in, selected this, copied it, pasted. While that's still selected, I'll just come over and edit it. And I will mirror that image. Now I will just carefully line it up, making sure that it overlaps just ever so slightly. And you can always build in a little extra space if you feel like, you want your card exactly 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 once you fold it. I select both banners. Come back to the layers on your right side. Over here, hit layers, weld. And now that's going to cut as one piece, and I could insert a score line if I wanted to, or I can just score it myself once it is cut. If I wanted to insert a score line, I certainly can do that by coming over to Insert Shapes, and there's a score line right here. You pick it up, select it. Whoops. These are a little hard to pick up sometimes. I have found that if you pick it up on that plus, sometimes you have a little more success. Or if you just want to give it up and just move this down, you certainly can do that too. Now, again, you might think, wow, how am I ever going to get that centered? Well, again, we can get that done by selecting both pieces You'll note that I gave up on trying to select that little score line. I just moved my piece onto the score line. I'm going to go up to a line, and I'm going to have it center horizontally this time. And now we are right in the middle of those two pieces. I come over while they're both still selected, and I hit attach. Over here in this right pattern under the layers, attach. Click. And now you'll note that I can move this and that score line will stay attached to the center of that. All right, so this on my card is white. So just for the sake of not being confused, let's come down and just make that white. And that's my card base. So let's take a look at what we have now. We have the card base. We have the card front. And we'll just move that forward so you can see that. So it will be just adhered right on top of here. And now for the flag. All right, so remember this flag that we cut from Summer Celebrations. All we need to do is select our flag. I'm going to go ahead and regroup that just so nothing moves for right now. We size it up. And we just bring this piece over on top of it. So again, we move that to the front. And now all we have to do is come back and select our flag image and make that the size that we have our heart with our flag completely behind it. Now, if you want, you could certainly slice off the sides of this. Or you can just do it as is and then just slice it with your paper slicer or hand trim it to fit your back of this exactly. Because you are going to have to come in and trim very carefully along this area by hand. Now you wouldn't have to. You could certainly copy this again and slice out your flag that way. But I just hand sliced mine. So that's how I made this card, and I used those features in Design Space. Again, we used the slice, we used the weld, and we used the hide contour, and we used the attach features today. So any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer them. Need more clarification? I'd be happy to come in and try to clarify anything I said, because maybe some of it was as clear as mud. And I'm also happy to address questions that are not concerning this particular project, but other projects. It always gives me ideas for what I might want to use on a future YouTube video. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.